It's metal time! Hey review family, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morris, the review guy, and I'm back again to bring you another video. And in this one I'm going to be covering the new Cult of Luna album entitled A Dawn to Fear. Cult of Luna is a sludge metal and a post-metal band from Sweden formed in 1998. For me, Cult of Luna has always had a sound that didn't really stick with me that much, never been a big fan of them. I've always appreciated though that they do have original ideas for the post-rock and post-metal genres, because there are so many bands that copy, you know, the titans of the genres. Your Sigur Rós, your Godspeed You Black Emperors, and God, what's that one band that everyone copies? Explosions in the Sky. However, I've always preferred the bands that kind of sound like Cult of Luna now as opposed to Cult of Luna. I'm talking about a band like Isis and a band like Neurosis. Bands that incorporate even more atmosphere, even more distortion, even more progressions, whereas Cult of Luna still cling to that kind of purist approach to post-metal. But surprisingly, A Dawn to Fear did surprise me a little bit. It's only 8 tracks long, but it's an hour and 20 minutes long. I wanted to get to the album sooner for a review, but I wanted to let it sink in, and it took a while to re-listen to. And I can safely say, without a doubt, this is the first Cult of Luna album that has just been sticking with me. And thank God it is, because it is such a good album in my opinion. Like I previously said, the band's prior discography always just felt like bubblegum to me. You chewed on it, it was nice in the moment, it had decent atmosphere in the moment, but once you kind of sucked the flavor out of it, it just felt so blasé. Leaving behind tracks that, while they're not necessarily just pastiche, they're not the most original tracks, not even by the genre standards, but by the band standards. It's really hard to break down this album on a physical level, but I will say it's not necessarily that different from Cult of Luna's previous material. I just think they're doing it better with more technicality, more density, more lackadaisical drifting instrumentation. Lay Your Head to Rest, even though it's one of the shorter tracks on the album, in retrospect it's one of the best tracks on the album in the way it builds up with that foggy, dense atmosphere. I think that's what Cult of Luna is doing right on this record. They're getting down that feeling of density within their own distortion and with their own layered instrumentation and rolling compositions. It all just has this great motion to it, this great push to it that makes you feel like you're on cloud 9. It's not perfect though. You got a track like Lights on the Heel, which is over 15 minutes long. I do like this track. I just feel like it stops and starts in that kind of post-metal way so often throughout this track that while it's restarting, I'm left scratching my head saying, could you not have broken this into different tracks that kind of sprouted branches into different directions, as opposed to just kind of staying on this one trajectory on this one track and just pushing it to its limits, just going in these different progressions within one track and making it all just sporadic. Not saying it's not cohesive, just not saying it's the most tied. Christian, I think, is a better vocalist than Klaas was. I like how he fades out with all of this soaked reverb on his vocals. He has such tenacity and aggression on his vocals. Even reminds me a little bit of kind of classic sludge metal, or even some of the more heavier and abrasive subgenres of doom metal, like funeral doom metal. You got your like mournful congregations and your bell witches, where just amongst this atmospheric instrumentation things can just ring out for so long. We Feel the End is actually my favorite track on the album, surprisingly, even though it's one of the more toned down and kind of stripped back tracks by this album's standards. Not necessarily as dense, but I cannot get over the production job on this track with that atmosphere. I just really dig the vibe that this track builds up. It's like it just continuously swells to the point where you're like, oh my god, it's gonna do something, but it just continues to build this tension. It's kind of almost ominous and bone-chilling, and builds this tension within your bones, giving you the feeling that at any second, any moment, this could just burst at the seams completely. Not to mention, this track isn't just like tripping on acid or taking LSD. This is literally like taking every psychedelic drug, dumping them in a blender, and just blending it all together and just chugging it all at once, sitting up and down really, really fast, letting it all rush to your head, letting the blood rush to your head, and then just falling on the ground. God, that's not one of the most flattering metaphors, but it works. But yeah, first time I've really been into Cult of Luna. Definitely, obviously, highly suggest checking it out. Best post-metal album of the year thus far, bar none. I'm gonna be giving this album an 8 out of 10, and that is a wrap. Please stay for the end screen. I'll link some videos you might be interested in. You know how this works. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Like this video if you enjoyed it. It'll help me out a lot. And smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. It's J Morse, the review guy. I'm signing off as usual, saying farewell.